Hello, kind, loving friends. On a roll today, making multiple videos. And eventually you have to start recording, even when you have your list of many, many things to share. So I wanted to talk a little bit about eye gazing. There are so many things that we can do at Cuddle Party to connect. And something I love that doesn't have to involve touch is eye gazing. What is eye gazing? Well, it's kind of like a grown-up version of a staring contest. Do you remember being young and you might have a classmate that you have a staring contest? Now, for some people, they would do the one where whoever blinks first loses. I don't really think that's fair because everyone has different levels of dry eye. It's not an equal playing field, and you could get dust in your eye, and it's not as much self-control as the other version, which I prefer, which is you look into each other's eyes and try not to laugh because it can be so kind of awkward. It gets you giggly, and giggling and laughing is wonderful. But to me, that one makes more sense uh, as like a self-control experiment. So with eye gazing, there's no winning and losing. The winning is the connection that you get to feel, but to an outsider, it can look like a staring contest. And you're welcome to laugh, you're welcome to blink. And for whatever amount of time that you agree upon, you look into each other's eyes. I've seen this done in a group where you're kind of in a line going down, and maybe it's 2 minutes each, and maybe you're a few feet apart. That's another wonderful thing. You can be 5 feet apart, 3 feet apart. You can be as close or far as you want. In fact, you could step back if you feel like it's too close, because the closer you are, the more kind of intense it can be and can make you nervous and awkward. And of course, during COVID, we would want to have social distancing. And speaking of that time, that's probably where online eye gazing became more prevalent. So how do you eye gaze through a screen? Obviously, you're not looking directly into someone's eyes, whereas in person, it's eye to eye. So with the computer, you identify where your camera is, and you look, whoever the giver of the eyes is, you look directly into the camera. So you're just going to be seeing a black dot with a green lit up thing in this case. And the receiver will look at their screen. So they are receiving the eyes because to them it's going to look like the person's looking directly into their eyes because the giver is giving it into the camera. That's what makes that different. In person, it's eye to eye, kind of live. What I have found to be so interesting with online eye gazing, it takes away a lot of the nervousness because the person giving is not looking into eyes. And because it's more one way, the person giving can think of praying for the person or wishing them well, or just think of sending them love. And what do you mean sending love? Like imagining energy from your heart being sent out to the other person. And I can feel it, but what I find so fun is people who kind of go in skeptical, like, what is this even for? Have reported they can't believe they can actually feel the love being sent from across the screen, possibly thousands of miles away on the other side of the world. So it can be powerful and enjoyable and connect people. And especially during a time where people have been lacking connection, it can bring joy and alleviate loneliness and all kinds of good feelings. And in person, it is eye to eye. Now you can choose that one person is going to be sending love and one person's receiving love, but you're still looking eye to eye, and that can be, some people can get nervous and awkward. So what do you do when you want to try eye gazing, but you're not sure if you can handle it? You're not sure if you're going to feel weird. If you need to kind of take a break, you could take a deep breath. Probably ideal to breathe more through your nose, or like, so you're not breathing right into their face. You can choose to breathe together. That can kind of help connect and kind of settle down some of those tension nerves. You can just close your eyes for a moment as long as you want, but maybe you want to get back to the eye gazing, so you reopen them and try again and see how it feels. Just taking a pause. And you can take a breath during that time too, a deep belly breath to help relax. Some people might look away or look elsewhere. Some people want to look right here in between, and you really can't look at both eyes at the same time. So you could just focus on one eye at a time or the whole time. And then sometimes it's helpful to switch to the other eye, look into that eye. And sometimes people will talk about having soft eyes, where if you've ever done the magic eye posters, it's kind of like that. They're close to you, but you're looking as if you're looking to the distance. And so, like right now, I've got soft eyes, and it's not a full double vision for me, but my green light camera is now two lights, about looks like this much apart. If I do it the other way, it's like this much apart, but that almost feels like cross-eyed. I'm not sure if that's what happened, but it can kind of help alleviate the tension, because although you're looking into the eyes, you're not fully focused in the way as if you're in close vision. It's something you kind of learn by experiencing. So that can help with the tension, because you're kind of like relaxing your eye muscles, because to focus close, there is some level of eye muscle action occurring. So those are some ways you can get through the nervousness and awkwardness. You can also, back up so that you're not quite as close, if that would help. And something that I experienced the other day, I think this may have been the first time, I'm not certain, but normally I am standing apart from someone if I'm doing it in person. I was able to be in a cuddle embrace the other day with someone who was like learning to cuddle. And I said, do you want to try the eye gazing from this scenario? Knowing it could feel more awkward. Here we are, cuddling can feel awkward when you're not used to it, and eye gazing can feel awkward. So if you combine them, is that going to, be the square, like awkward squared? And additionally, because you're so close, not only are you in each other's embrace, but you're a foot and a half away, face to face. I found it interesting. I did get to, I think it's helpful to ask the person, if it's one-on-one, like, how was that for you? How did it feel? What did you experience? I actually would love the chance to ask more follow-up questions, but it was mentioned, okay, contact wearers in a dry desert environment are going to have more dry eye and might need to blink more, or maybe the looking away. I'm curious, was that because of dry eye, or was it an awkwardness looking away, like oh, this is too intense, too much vulnerability, too much intimacy, and I have to look away for that. But I think it's a very interesting experiment. I personally find there's so many times I'm talking to someone and I'm making eye contact, but I'm not. It's so different than eye gazing. Like, eye gazing usually happens mostly in silence. And I find, I'm really looking into their eyes. I'm not looking at their facial expressions or like what their face looks like. But I feel like, they say eyes are the windows to the soul. And I feel like sometimes during eye gazing, I often pray to see other people through God's eyes and see myself through God's eyes as well. And I often feel like eye gazing with them, not only am I able to see their spirit, but with a less earthly perception and a more heavenly perception, similar to how I hope God would see them. So I have experienced feeling love for them just by looking into their eyes, into their spirit, into their soul. And there's even been times where, let's say it's a guy that I don't, is not my type for feeling attracted to. I feel like the amount of love I end up feeling for them is a type of attraction. Maybe not the type we initially talk about when you meet someone and you think, ooh, they're, cute or something. But it's almost like a deeper love that feels more meaningful and maybe lasting, maybe eternal, something that matters more, the kind of thing that when youth and looks fade, if you love their spirit and can feel like some kind of attraction to their spirit, that I think is what kind of really matters in life. And I think that too often we bypass people because of our initial reactions and perceptions and thoughts and initial, oh, like we don't find them cute enough. Well, what about being friends? What about a spirit to spirit connection? Nobody says you have to marry them, but what if we could value people more for who their spirit really is? And Can we take the time to look into their spirit for a minute, 4 minutes, 30 seconds? Can we at least allow someone to be seen for that time? So it's something that from the outside looks like it looks just like the kid game. But when you start to peel back layers, you realize how deep it can bring you into your heart, into your spirit, and how it's a worthwhile use of time, because it's not just a kid's game that's just play for fun. It can be something really moving and special and connecting. And I think it can help us think more in an eternal sense, like elevate our own spirituality when we're connecting spirit to spirit more than just earthly external to earthly external. So those are some notes on eye gazing. And it can certainly be easier to do with people you already know, friends, family, loved ones. But it can be interesting with people you just met too. It's a great thing to try at Cuddle Party. I don't know that I'd recommend walking up to someone on the bus and asking them if they will eye gaze with you, but if you're in an environment like Cuddle Party where it would be an acceptable thing to ask for, and you've established rules to be able to ask for what you want, it's worth trying. Especially, let's say at Cuddle Party, if you don't want to touch anyone, but you want to connect, that can be a way to experience connection without touch. But you can also incorporate touch if you want. And you could even start out without touch and then ask for an embrace. I mean, during dance, there's no obligation to make eye contact, but at a recent fusion dance, I found it was really interesting to connect through eye contact, and it felt really like intense in a good way. And I think it enhanced the dance. I felt loved during the dance. I felt like, oh, please don't let go. And it was a really good dance. Like a lot of times I don't want to look in their eyes. And also a lot of times they're so much taller than me that it's just, it would not be conducive to it would not be comfortable to tilt my head so much. But there's something to be said for an additional level of connection where it's almost like you can feel them more. You can feel their intention and where they want to lead you. And I mean, especially at the competition ballroom level, that's a different thing than this fusion dance, but a big part of dance is connection. I mean, physically, you have to feel them. Like, it's a great thing to close your eyes while dancing, and especially during Argentine tango and fusion, and just feel, like, be able to take the lead by feeling where they want you to go, but maintaining the eye contact too. It's just this other level of connection. It's not, you could maybe see by their shoulders where they want to lead you, but connecting to their eyes, it's like syncing up. Like, imagine if we had the ability to have telepathy, but that's part of the part of our brain they say we don't use. What if our human body, earthly body, has that ability, and we can enhance it by connecting? If there is telepathy, I would think one of the ways to activate it, we'd probably have to get really comfortable with looking into each other's eyes for an extended amount of time. So those are some thoughts on eye gazing, some ideas on how to try it, and why you might want to try it, what the benefits could be, other than, okay, I'm just looking in your eyes. Why would I do that? So have fun with that. And maybe you want to talk about what results you have after you try it. So as always, may we have peace, health, happiness, safety, and peace be with you. Thanks for tuning in. This is Larysa, Happiness Archaeologist, signing off for today.